Well, let's begin what's trending today in Nigeria. A video of the self-acclaimed former militant leader, Asari Dokubo, declaring himself the leader of a new Biafra de facto customary government, have made rounds. Over the weekend, Dokubo announced the formation of the Biafra government and also named those who would serve as leaders. He added that the government would proceed to set up provincial structures, but will, however, not go to war. Instead, will work towards their freedom. The federal government has described the reported formation of the Biafra customary government as a theater of the absurd by a joker seeking attention. Okay, Tunju, over to you. Now, this video has circulated, and I mean, it was really over the weekend that he declared himself the leader of this Biafra government. A lot of people are saying, you know, the government is handling it with levity because I believe Lai Mohammed yesterday addressed journalists and said that he could say whatever he wants. They had more pressing issues to attend to as opposed to, you know, addressing his issue. Now, is it okay for people to just declare themselves as you know, a sovereignty or a government or whatever it is in Nigeria?
According to the laws of the land, it's treason to do that. But I guess the federal government has assessed the threat or the risk and have decided to completely dismiss him, which if I were Asari Dokubo, I'd be most offended, but because they clearly don't take him seriously at all. Because ordinarily, I think you would know how I know this very well. Even if you actually won a free and fair election and you do declare yourself the legitimate president of Nigeria, you get arrested. You get charged with treason, treasonable felony, the whole gamut. And it's punishable with death, actually. It's a very serious offense in the laws of Nigeria. But I guess they've just decided they're not going to give him the... because to arrest him, I guess, would legitimize him and give him some kind of gravitas. And they're deliberately calling him pejoratives such as clown or what have you to stress that they're just not taking him seriously.
Dr. Bati?
Well, what Asari Dokubo has said is that he has declared a Biafra customary government, whatever that means. You know, he's before now, or he was before now, what is the leader of what is called the Delta People's Situation Force. And he's been a very outspoken person, purportedly defending the rights of the Niger Delta people long before now, even since the days of President Olusegun Obasanjo. And now we are confused. He leaves us in a confused state. Where does it stand? Is it Biafra customary government or Niger Delta militancy? Because I mean, it's not given that it's the same cause that the Niger Delta militant groups are fighting, that the Biafra movement is also fighting. So he has crossed from the south-south all the way to the southeast. So it looks like, you know, a kind of revolutionary shopping for forum. And I think that the Minister of Information is well positioned. He has said the right thing to say that this looks like entertainment, and that the federal government of Nigeria would take it as pure entertainment from an irritant, you know, group. Whatever it is that he's talking about, well, it looks like, you know, it looks really funny. What really is a Biafra customary government? And Tunu is right. If you declare a new government under an existing government, is simply treasonable felony. And if the federal government goes further to insist on the law, I hope nobody will expect us to sit here and start defending him. He should be ready to answer for the consequences of his own action. However, the Minister of Information, I think, overreached himself when he used the phrase theater of the absurd. Many people use it anyhow, you know, thinking that this is a fanciful phrase. But for us, you know, in our own background, this is an academic category, you know, defined in 1960 by Martin Exling. And it refers to a cultural situation after the Second World War and the writing that emerged in Europe with Samuel Beckett, Adamov, Jean Genet, and other writers at that time, including Eugene Ionesco.
Okay, Dr. Bati.
Now, but everybody uses the phrase in a fanciful manner, but you do not really understand the meaning of it. But I think, the Minister of Information probably had that phrase somewhere, and he too has used it. But it doesn't quite relate to the ludicrous situation that he's trying to describe. But that's pedantic, so I'll leave it.
All right, Dr. Bati. Rufai, your take on the story?
You see, when I look at things like this, I get shocked. And I look and I say, what is Asari Dokubo looking for again? We remember how he started under Olusegun Obasanjo's administration. We remember how they got concessions, to develop the Niger Delta. Correct me if I'm wrong, I think he even has a university to train militants. He got good contracts. So what is happening? The polity is already inflamed in this country. Let's not inflame it any further. This is against the law. And why it looks very funny to me is the fact that you said something very treasonable. You're saying, no, I don't want violence, I just want to declare. It's not possible. In Asari Dokubo's words, you're not fit. It's not possible. There's an existing government on ground. Do we have challenges? Yes. But is this the way about it? No. You can't declare another government when you have an existing government. So in his own words, you're not fit. It's not possible. And let's stop giving people ideas. That's the part I don't like. Because the minister has come out to say, yes, it's laughable and everything and all of that. But with this, he has just given a couple of other people other ideas. Let's not inflame the polity. This is the one country we have, and we must do everything to protect it. Are we perfect? No. Are there challenges? Yes. Can we walk through these challenges? We can come together and walk through them if we're truly sincere. Have we been sincere? No. Can we walk that path of sincerity? Yes. But let's not inflame the polity because we want to, show face. What is Biafra customary something? Looking for another buzzword, putting yourself out there and saying this so that you want to be part of the narrative. It's now become a circus show. We forget children are watching. Is this the future we want to leave for them? Asari Dokubo, stop it. Stop it.
Thank you, Rufai. We'll take another story. With a video showing the flag of the Yoruba Nationalist organization, the Oduwa People's Congress, being hoisted in the middle of the street in Lagos State. Let's take a quick look at this video before we come back for a discussion.
Surulere was 18th of March, 9:30 p.m. Surulere, 15th of March. Yoruba Nation no flag. Yoruba Nation no flag up you. Ojo agbe.
Only yesterday we discussed Asari Dokubo's declaration of a new government, and now we are seeing this Yoruba nationalist flag being hoisted. It's happened in Surulere, I believe, a few days back. And for me, what I see is a struggle for liberation by the various groups. But, other analysts would say that, most of them are acting out of personal interests more so than the quest for liberation. I don't know what your take is.
I wouldn't be that dismissive. I wouldn't dismiss them as acting out of personal interest necessarily. What I see this as is just a call for restructuring. Yeah. If we had that, we wouldn't have these mushroom situations. But I do wonder, what exactly is the significance of this hoisting of a flag in the dead of night? I'm not quite sure what that really means. But people are dissatisfied, plainly dissatisfied with the current situation that we are, the system that we're running, the unitary system that we're running. Why don't we just restructure already and just really give Nigeria a chance? It is not working. How we're doing it now.
Good point, Tundu.
Well, anybody can carry a flag. Schools have flags. Some churches have flags.
Individuals have flags.
Individuals can come up with a flag. Associations sometimes have a flag that they carry about. What is important is, what is the meaning of it? What is the significance of it? Now, all the people who have been going about carrying flags should know that if they hoist a flag which violates the integrity of the Nigerian state or is presented as an assault on the sovereignty of Nigeria, then there could be adverse consequences. I think that is the clause that we should put there. You will recall that when the IPOB came up with a flag and they tied that flag to the politics of succession, the Nigerian state had no option but to go after them. And we criticized how the Nigerian state went about it because they presented it as if it was an act of provocation against the Nigerian state. Now, the Oodua groups, the people are saying they want the Republic of Oodua. This is not the first time they will hoist the flag. Sometime last year in Iwo Road in Ibadan, a similar flag was put up along Iwo Road, again by unknown persons and at night. Now we have this at Surulere around Akirele, also done at night. So, well, I don't know. It's not as if it's an organized attempt to declare anything. No. Usually the people putting up these Oduduwa Republic flags, they don't often identify themselves. They just put up the flag and go away. Because perhaps they understand that if the significance is beyond that, there could be consequences, there could be sharp reaction from the Nigerian state. Now, what is inspiring this in Yoruba land, I think, was the move last year by the Yoruba World Congress, led by Professor Banji Akintoye, an historian, who led the move to go and register Nigeria with the unrepresented nations and people's organization in Geneva, that's in Switzerland, right?
Yes.
Right. And on the basis of that, when Professor Akintoye came back, he said, the identification with UNPO has now given the Yoruba people the right to have their own flag. But the thing to note is that the UNPO is just an NGO. It's not as if it's an organ of the United Nations, right? But as Tundo pointed out, you have many of these groups, even in Yoruba land, who are talking about what is wrong with Nigeria and who are taking symbolic steps, gestures, to prove that they are dissatisfied with Nigeria. Take the Yoruba World Congress or the Yoruba Youth Coalition or the Odua People's Organization. They're saying that they have the right to self-determination under the agreements reached during the constitutional conferences leading to independence in 1950. But the kind of self-determination that most of these Yoruba groups are asking for is self-determination within Nigeria, within a federal structure. They say Nigeria should be a federation. They don't want the 1999 constitution. They say Nigeria must be reorganized, to not use the word restructuring. But, they tend to throw the part of self-determination. So you have many of these groups saying this. But the thing to note, of course, is that the people going about with flags should know that if you go a step further to talk about secession, the state, will remind you that Nigeria is one indivisible entity. Nobody has come forward to claim ownership of that flag that was hoisted in Surulere.
Is it a treasonable offense?
And you will probably not see anybody. That was you can put up any flag.
Flags are fine.
You can put up any flag.
You can even have your anthem. Do what you
go further.
Don't try.
If you take a step further,
secede
to
from
query the sovereignty of the state, that is where the problem is.
Correct. Rufai, your take on this story?
We should be very careful in this country, including those going to put up all sorts of flag. This country doesn't need this at this point in time. Like I said yesterday, can we talk? Yes. And I call on government and I call on every party responsible. This is the time to have a talk about Nigeria again. There are a lot of things that are not right. Insecurities of the highest order. The governors are as good as lame duck. The country needs to be looked at again at reorganization. Different regions should be able to lead the way on how the economic prosperity should stand. Things I don't like. I don't see any reason why I collect VAT for people buying and drinking alcohol here, and the same VAT is given to somebody in Kano that doesn't believe in alcohol. These are the things I want to have a conversation about. But we shouldn't be fanning the embers of having a fight before we have a conversation. That's why we have sovereign national conferences. And when we have them, the government too should have the responsibility to effect what has been discussed, because the reason for this conversation is the furtherance of this nation. That's what I want. We want to have those conversations about how the country should be run. Regions should be able to generate their wealth and use their wealth for them. But let's not fan this bickering of division, because we are great as one big country together when we are organized and reorganized. Is this system working? Hell no. Hell no. So power should be devolved. That's the conversation we should put on the table. And the earlier we have it, the better it is for all of us. We've had it in the past. We had it in the past that led to state creation. 96, 97, we had conferences. We had it under, the last administration. But this tospe, as I call it, you are putting up flags here and there, you are causing chaos. I don't like that. Because once it blows up in our faces, nobody can sit down to stand a war. And a war will set this country backward 30, 40 years. Please. There are a lot of unwritten things people couldn't say about how the Civil War destroyed Nigeria. The animosity and the mistrust the Civil War built, we are still suffering it today. That was 50 years ago. Let's not set ourselves back. Should we have a conversation? Yes. Should we reorganize, restructure, rejig anything? Yes. Should the Constitution be more robust and inclusive? Yes. But should we be hoisting flags and be fighting here and there? No.
All right, Rufai. We'll take another story. Yoruba activist Sunday Igboho, in a now viral video, has declared a Yoruba nation. He made the declaration during a conference in Ibadan, the Oyo State capital, insisting that it was time the Yoruba became a sovereign nation. With the declaration, the activist called on Yoruba people in other territories to return home before war breaks out. He also called on all traditional rulers in Yoruba land to support the movement in order to free the Southwest from slavery. This is reoccurring. It's like every week we find a new activist calling for their own nation. I remember we talked about this and you offered a solution, whether it is a federation or some sort. Maybe, I don't know what your thoughts are on this case, but I feel like it's just, again, what we're facing in Nigeria.
Yeah, another day, another declaration. Yes. He's actually come into the limelight, as it were, quite suddenly because of his clamoring about security in the Southwest, the insecurity that we're facing here in the Southwest. And this is the solution that he has proffered. Everybody should just go their separate ways. Because at this point, if it's every man for himself, because leaders from all over the country have called on people to start to arm themselves. And scandalously, even government officials have said, you'll recall, the Minister of Defense saying that people were cowards for not attacking the bandits. So if it's every man for himself, it might as well just become every region for itself. This is the ridiculous point that we have gotten to here because this unitary system simply is not working. We must restructure now. And we discussed this recently. You brought the story about Asari Dokubo making his own declaration about the Biafra customary government, which was dismissed, laughed out of the room, basically, by the Minister for Information, Alhaji Lai Mohammed. But if the government decides to take this approach with Sunday Adeyemo, great for him. If they decide to take the approach that they did with Omoyele Sowore, who you will recall did not even ask for any kind of a nation. He was trying to protest about the economy, security, really free education, and they slammed treason charges on him. You'll recall he was held for a year, granted bail, rearrested. His travails continue till today. We discussed recently when he went for his last court appearance with a controversially dressed gentleman by his side. So the Nigerian government will wait to see how they respond to this particular latest call. And I do hope that beyond all of this, we see the importance, the necessity at this point, right now, to restructure this country once and for all.
Well said, Tundu.
Well, I think this is frightening. It's an indication of the strife, the division, the problem with Nigeria. Non-state actors like Sunday Igboho, like Asari Dokubo, like Nnamdi Kanu, and so on, have become the new intellectuals of the Nigerian community. And the rhetoric that comes from many of these non-state actors is a rhetoric of division, it's a rhetoric of violence, it's a rhetoric of confrontation. And we need to remind those who go to the extreme point, even in asking for justice, even in asking for equity within the Nigerian arrangement, that the Constitution of Nigeria says that Nigeria shall be one indivisible entity. And it is on the basis of that that the government clamps down on anybody who talks about secession. Now, before now, if you look at the rhetoric coming from the Southwest, not too many of the groups. You have the Yoruba Elders Council, you have the Afenifere, you have the Yoruba World Congress, you have the Omo Oduduwa group. Not many of those groups, have been talking about secession of the Yorubas. The message, the ideological message has been one of restructuring from Afenifere and also one of self-determination within the Nigerian arrangement. But Igboho, in the videos that have been circulating, has been talking about secession, has been talking about the declaration of the Oduduwa, of the Republic of Oduduwa. Now, I don't know the intellectual wing that is behind that, but one or two videos that he has released or that he has been involved in recently could, in my own estimation, be considered frightening. In one video, he's alleged to have said that if any politician in the Southwest decides to campaign or seek office in 2023, that the security of such persons cannot be guaranteed. In this second video, the one that you have shown, he says very clearly that Yorubas are tired of the Nigerian arrangement. Enough is enough. His group will reopen any border that is closed. And he called on Yorubas to unite. And he went further to say every Yoruba man that is in the north should return home.
Yes. Because
now it is time to confront these people. And he was talking about the Fulanis occupying major institutions in the Southwest, the ports. Yeah. He mentioned the ports particularly, the airports, the seaports, Tinkan Island and Apapa Port. Now, in a federation, in a country like this, that could be something that could generate a lot of tension. And already a group, Arewa Youth Assembly, also issued a statement with a spokesperson of that group saying, yes, Sunday Igboho says Fulanis should leave the Southwest and that Yorubas should leave the North. So that group also within the last 24 hours has said every Yoruba man should leave the North. And they are even calling on the security agencies to support them to get Yoruba people in the northern part of the country out of the place. So what is this? What it means is that Nigeria is sitting on a keg of gunpowder. Across the country, you have this rhetoric of division. And I think it's unfortunate that we have reached such a level. And that is why the government of the day must take public opinion seriously. You can't discount the agitation from all of these people. We had a 2014 National Political Conference. We have had several conferences in the past. All of that was being ignored. We have seen the urgency of dialogue.
Right.
We have seen the urgency of the need to take a second look at the Nigerian arrangement. We have seen a very serious need to look at the meaning, whether or not we have a nation and what it means to be a Nigerian.
Well said, Dr. Abati. Rufai, your take on this story.
This reminds me of Benjamin Disraeli's book, former British Prime Minister. He was also an author. The book is called Sibyl, or Two Nations. In that book, there were two nations, the nations of those that have and those that don't have. And that is what is playing out here. There are agitations by people that the country is not working for. And the people that it is working for are looking at them and saying, what are you talking about? And it's a very sad place to be. In the space of 1 week, two declarations. We've got Asari Dokubo, he said this on his own part. We've got Sunday Igboho saying this now. Government should be responsive to the agitations. We should listen to people across board and try to fix whatever might be the problems, and not to appear to take sides, because it's our nation and it is one nation we have. But truth and justice and fairness makes a nation. The insecurity challenges that have brought all of this to the front burner should be addressed forthwith. Because if we don't do that, then we are sitting, I'll quote Dr. Bati now, on a keg of gunpowder mixed with dynamite. It is sad. And I'll tell you what leaders do. In the 70s, Canada too had this agitation. There were a group of people called the Front de Libération de Québec, fighting for the independence of Quebec. Where kidnappings, were harassing people and all of that. The Quebecans supported them, the Quebecois. But guess what? There was also a leader called Elliott Trudeau that stood tall and said, we must change the country. He brought about what is called the Victorian Charter that led to the Constitutional Act of 1982 in Canada, that brought about bilingualism and a lot of restructuring in the Canadian system to douse the tension. Today, Elliott Trudeau is still remembered to be the father of unity in Canada because he took a stand. Leadership should take a stand, listen to the voice of those agitating, and try to rein people in and bring unity back. It is in times of crisis you know who a true leader is. Winston Churchill was celebrated because of how he stood tall during the Second World War. This is the time for the Nigerian leadership to stand twice as tall to unite this country.
Thank you, Rufai.